Y'all, so anytime Zaya Wade does anything iconic, I'm always like,
yes, me.
Yes, me.
Yeah, you could blow me. I ain't the only. You so lonely, insecure, they don't control me. I ain't the only.
So y'all already know the drill. You can find my Patreon podcast episodes, my second YouTube channel, all in my description box. Let's talk about a few things, not a whole lot because I just did a whole bunch of videos this week. But first on the list is Zaya Wade. She went and did this whole spread and interview for Dazed Magazine, and it was really cool. She is, I'm telling you, she's taking the fashion world by storm. Let's talk about this blazer moment with, is this a fucking chainmail ass purse or something, a bag? Like, what's the tea? Anyway, she was doing the damn thing, but I wanted to read you some of the things that she said in her interview. She was asked, when do you feel most empowered? She said, when my family surrounds me. They are such a giant support system and have always been there for me no matter what happens. I feel strongest when I'm with them. And I love that that is a reality for her. It's not a reality for a lot of queer kids, but it just shows how important that support system, whether that's their family, chosen family, whatever, is, especially when you're a Black queer person, a young person. So another question was, how do you enforce boundaries on social media? Cause y'all be wildin' when it comes to Zaya. And what does self-care look like to you? She said, I tend not to interact with social media in an excessive way. Boundaries are super healthy. On Instagram, I have a filtered comment section, so only the people I trust and love and know love me can comment and share positivity, because unnecessary negativity causes stress. And also in another part of the interview, I think she was saying something like, you know, the positivity of social media and just communicating with people who love her, blah, blah, blah. And you know, the community on there, she's saying the positivity of all that outweighs the negativity of being on social media. So I thought that was cool. And another question she was asked, I know you are young and still figuring it out. What advice would you give to anyone looking to live a more authentic life? She said, protect your peace. Discovering that part of yourself and then having the courage to share it is stressful in and of itself. It's a lot of stress, pressure, and tension. You should recognize that you have gone through a life-changing experience and deserve peace. The last one I'll read, they asked her, what's the one thing you wish all younger trans kids knew? She said, you're not alone. There are so many people out there. I wish I knew that as a kid because I felt so isolated thinking there was no one else like me. She said, when you're a child at school, you're like, I'm trans and I don't see many trans people, so I feel isolated. I feel different from anyone. But that is not the only community. There are thousands of communities waiting for you, and the trans community is forever growing. So yeah, Miss Mamas, the kids are all right. Zaya is not only stepping on y'all necks when it comes to this fashion game, when it comes to the fashion shit, but she has her head screwed on right. She's so intelligent and articulate. We love when the trans girlies, when the queer girlies thrive because they have support and resources and people around them who love them, love that. And I wish the same kind of thriving, positive kind of energy for all my queer, all my trans folk. Like, let's get into it, right? Zaya's thriving and the haters mad. And since we're talking about people who are mad, Ron DeSantis is actually mad with the way that he's trying to uproot everything in Florida. This come from The Hill. New Florida bill would ban diversity inclusion programs on university campuses. A new Florida bill would ban programs that promote diversity, equity, and inclusion in colleges and universities across the state. House Bill 999 bans colleges from financially supporting any programs or campus activities that espouse diversity, equity, or inclusion, or critical race theory rhetoric. The language has led to concerns that Black fraternities and sororities will be barred from Florida campuses under the proposed legislation. The bill bans courses based on unproven theoretical or exploratory content and majors in women's studies or gender studies. Damn! It forbids state schools from using diversity, equity, and inclusion statements, critical race theory rhetoric, or other forms of political identity filters as part of the hiring process, including as a part of applications for promotion and tenure. The bill does not define critical race theory rhetoric, however, because how could they define that shit when y'all just use this as a boogeyman when it comes to y'all rhetoric and get y'all base riled up? Y'all don't know what it actually means or what it actually is. And at this point, it doesn't matter because like I said, the effect that y'all wanted it to have on y'all constituents and on the on the media and population. Like, it happened. It worked. Under Florida law, public grade schools and high schools are already prohibited from instructing on topics that could make someone feel personal responsibility for historic wrongdoings because of their race, sex, or national origin. And so, I mean, we already know, I don't have to go into history of how these conservatives then took the concept of critical race theory and made it this big boogeyman, like I said. We don't have to go into we already know who Ron DeSantis is, this Florida damn governor. We already know who he is. So him doing these kinds of things are not surprising. It's just crazy that it's happening like this and happening this quickly. Trump is scary to me. Trump is giving me very much fascist, like we already know what Trump gives. But Ron DeSantis he terrifies the shit out of me even more than Trump has. Because look at the way he's destroying the shit out of Florida. He's coming in and tearing all that shit up, banning books, all type of shit. Ain't no telling what the power, the kind of craziness this man gonna do if y'all ever give him the keys to this Oval Office. Like, ain't no telling. This paragraph was so crazy to me. Under Florida law, public schools, high schools, whatever, are already prohibited from instructing on topics that could make someone feel personal responsibility for historic wrongdoings because of their race, sex, or national origins. Like, they really tie, you know, educating people on the atrocities that happen, slavery, racism, all that shit. They really tie that to the concept of like, oh, well, you're gonna make little Johnny, you're gonna make Susan think that she's personally responsible for all of this shit. And it's like, girl, that's not what we're saying, and you know that. That's the thing. You know that's not what we're saying. They really are trying to act like educating someone on the effects of slavery and the effects of racism, the effects of, you know, the way this society is structured, and the fact that all of those things affect Black people's lives, minorities' lives today. They really think that we're gonna say, you know, little Barbara, little Chad was responsible for child slavery. Like, girl, unseriousness. But they get to build their rhetoric, they get to base their bigotry, they get to base their discrimination on this unserious bullshit. And it's obviously working. Ron DeSantis is tearing down Florida up. And he gonna continue. If politics goes the way he wants it to go, he gonna continue to tear this shit up right up to the Oval Office, get his ass out of here. While they're over here talking about, or just having all these debates and trying to tear everything up about critical race theory, gender studies, woman studies, LGBT people, all these conversations going on when it comes to schools. But I want to see them talk about this shit, okay? They would rather have teachers have to pull this shit out, make a whole entire bunker in their classroom, obviously trying to prepare for these damn shootings, mass shootings in these schools. Like, they would rather do this than ban some of these guns, than have some common sense gun laws. Like, they over here worried about, you know, banning books and shit when kids can't even go to school without thinking about, oh bitch, it's gonna be my last day. I'm doing a bell ringer and my bell about to be rung. Like, is this really about to be my last day? Y'all worry about the wrong shit. That's it. And then listen to this. Minnesota GOP, because we talking about schools still, Minnesota GOP state senator votes against free school lunch and says that he's never met hungry kids. His name is Steve Drazkowski or something like that. He apparently said that hunger is a relative term. He said, I have yet to meet a person in Minnesota that says they don't have access to enough food to eat. So apparently, like, he was railing against this legislation, even though apparently more than 8% of the children in the county that he represents live in poverty, and approximately 1 in 6 children in Minnesota are food insecure, meaning they don't know where or when their next meal will be available. Despite this lawmaker's opposition, the measure passed by a vote of 38 to 26 and is expected to be signed into law by Democratic Governor Tim Walz. Once signed, Minnesota will join other states, including California and Colorado, in giving free meals to kids. What, Steve Drazkowski was over here saying that he had never met a hungry person? Why would this be an issue? You know, everybody has access to fucking food. Girl! So while he was railing against that, the shit passed anyway. But I'm just like, y'all, like I said before, y'all worried about what's going on. Y'all worried about critical race theory and LGBT studies and women's studies and gender studies. How about we make sure these kids can motherfucking eat? And how about we make sure they won't be dying from bullets going through their motherfucking heads? Y'all got bigger fish to fry than this bullshit. And that's why Ron DeSantis is so goddamn corny to me. Anyway, speaking of somebody who's corny, George Santos, y'all remember he has been definitely quite a topic of discussion on this channel. He has filed paperwork. Remember, he was the one for anti-LGBT bills and laws, but we ended up finding out that he was prancing around here as a drag queen. Also, he lied about most of the things that are on his resume, right? So knowing that, this is what he did. He has filed paperwork indicating that he will run for re-election in 2024, despite currently being under multiple investigations for flat out lies he told on the campaign trail. So I just thought that he, you know how bold you have to be like, girl, I lied, I did. And guess what? Y'all hoes still want to vote for me. Get your ass out of there. And lastly, I guess we can finish this. We're on this topic of politics. They have been releasing all these this new footage about what went on January 6th and da-da-da-da-da. And, you know, they showing video from different angles, never seen before videos of, you know, these people coming in and sieging the Capitol, taking over the Capitol building, and multiple videos. Oh my goodness, the Capitol Police were leading these people everywhere so they could do what they needed to do. And I'm just watching the video like, okay. I was in my house at January 6th. I was sitting my ass down. I don't know what these other girls were doing. Watching politics, like American politics, consume itself, like cannibalize itself is so interesting. I'm watching from a distance. When Joe Biden finally forgives all these student loans, then maybe you could expect me to pretend to give a fuck. But right now I'm just leaning back watching y'all just destroy each other. They releasing all this footage. I'm like, God, can you believe that this happened, bitch? I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Where is student loan forgiveness? What about the student loan forgiveness? What about rent? What about caps on the rent? What about this inflation when I'm in the store? What about this inflation, bitch? I ain't no balloon, bitch. I can't keep up with that. So it's like so funny to watch people have these like, oh my goodness, can you believe this happened January 6th? I'm like, bitch, where have y'all been? Y'all have never opened a history book. I don't give a fuck about that shit. Forgive my student loans. And on that note, thank y'all so much for watching. Check out my description box, like I said, and make sure that you have a good goddamn evening.
Don't play with